Strange Affairs Club, Puppet Comics, The Origin of Immortal Lu Jiu, Part 1. Last time, we talked about Immortal Lu Jiu helping Shu Feng's wife, Hong Mei, exorcise evil. Shu Feng witnessed Immortal Lu Jiu's divine powers, and was naturally filled with immense admiration. Although Immortal Lu Jiu was powerful, his temper was not very likable. His usual words and actions were erratic, never quite normal. Under Shu Feng's persistent questioning, the old man also shared some tidbits about Immortal Lu Jiu, saying that his temper was rather strange, and not all villagers were willing to associate with him. Yet he didn't care about others' opinions. Anyone willing to call him elder and offer him a drink would find him unpretentious and certainly willing to help with all his might. As for the Immortal Lu Jiu's abilities, they were even more legendary. Immortal Lu Jiu's original name was Lu Jiu. His father was a famous winemaker in the village, and the baijiu he brewed was renowned far and wide. You young man, drink a little less. Your alcohol tolerance is even better than your father's. Lu Jiu had smelled the aroma of wine ever since he came out of his mother's womb. Dad, just leave me alone. I'll stop after 2 more bowls. Before he even turned 20, wine was already inseparable from his hands. Unfortunately, Lu Jiu inherited his father's love for wine, but didn't learn the skill of brewing. Once his father passed away, the distillery fell into disrepair. Boss, 2 bottles of yang. With no wine left at home, he could only rely on his father's savings to go out and buy drinks. Lu Jiu, aren't you afraid of drinking away all your family's fortune with that kind of habit? Boss, you're something else. I'm putting this money right into your pocket. The boss half joked, half advised him not to drink away all his family's savings with such a habit. What? If you don't want this money, I'll just go to another shop. But Immortal Lu Jiu didn't mind at all. In those days, grain was scarce, let alone wine, so the price was naturally high. The savings his father had painstakingly accumulated were spent by him in less than 2 years. This brat is truly a good-for-nothing. Who's arguing with that? It wasn't easy for old Master Lu to build such a family fortune. People lamented how the old master could have fathered such a spendthrift, and naturally, there was some discussion. Lu Jiu, the money your old man left you was for getting a wife. But look at you. You don't treat money like money at all. You're truly foolish. Some of the elder villagers were even less polite, scolding Lu Jiu directly to his face. Uncle, I don't care whether I get a wife or not. Anyway, this money was left to me by my father. I'll use it however I please, and it's none of your business. However, Lu Jiu's attitude wasn't bad. He said that this money was left by his father for him to marry, and if worst came to worst, he just wouldn't get married. Seeing his attitude, everyone knew this person was beyond saving. Slowly, they stopped discussing him, treating him simply as a pile of mud. Who would care about the life or death of a pile of mud? But Lu Jiu certainly didn't consider himself a pile of mud, and of course, he wouldn't bother to argue. When he ran out of money, he would take on odd jobs, and once he had enough, he'd go buy wine. His life was tight, but he could still fill his stomach. If he couldn't afford good wine, he'd settle for some bulk liquor to satisfy his craving. Days passed by like this. One day, Lu Jiu went to the village co-op to buy wine. He weighed out half a caddy of cheap liquor and was just about to head back. From a distance, he saw Hu Haonan approaching with a group of his lackeys. Hu Haonan, relying on his family's connections, had always been a bully in the village, constantly gathering a group of idle ruffians to cause trouble. And Lu Jiu was his favorite target to torment. Every time they met, he couldn't escape a round of mockery and teasing. Seeing Hu Haonan, Lu Jiu wasn't foolish. He immediately turned around. Lu Jiu, stop right there! But it was too late. From afar, he heard Hu Haonan shout, telling him to stop. How could Lu Jiu dare to disobey? He knew he couldn't escape today's ordeal. When Hu Haonan approached, he immediately kicked him. Lu Jiu stumbled, unable to hold the wine flask steady, and it instantly fell to the ground, spilling everywhere. "I said, you brat, you see me, your master, coming, and you don't even greet me? What's your problem?" Hu Haonan, naturally still not appeased, began to curse. Lu Jiu could only lower his head and remain silent. Although his heart ached from the spilled wine, he knew that if he dared to utter a single word in response, he would certainly be met with a beating. Hu Haonan cursed for a while, then stopped. He noticed the spilled wine on the ground and knew Lu Jiu must have gone to the co-op to buy alcohol. Then he looked at Lu Jiu's face, angry but daring not to speak, and found it instantly amusing. "Erhu, hand me the wine. Drunkard, what do you think of this wine?" After scolding for a while, he asked Erhu, who was behind him, for the wine. It turned out they had brought a bottle themselves. Lu Jiu's eyes widened when he saw it. This flask of wine was an offering from someone to his father. It naturally wouldn't be bad. "Here, smell this aroma tilde." Hu Haonan unscrewed the cap and waved the wine in front of him. The rich aroma of good wine immediately overwhelmed Lu Jiu, making him lose control of himself. "Lu Jiugi, look, you finally got to drink some wine, only for me to spill it like this. How about I compensate you with this bottle?" Hu Haonan insincerely apologized to Lu Jiu, then said he would give him this wine as compensation. Upon hearing this, Lu Jiu nearly jumped. This was a wine he couldn't even afford when he still had some family fortune, let alone in his current situation, having not had good wine for years. This rich, intoxicating aroma had long since captivated his very soul. Lu Jiu wanted to reach out and take it, but he instantly sobered up. How could Hu Haonan give him such a grand gift for no reason? He looked again at Hu Hanan's enigmatic smile, and knew things couldn't be that simple. "Lu Jiugi, your brain isn't stupid after all, but I'm serious about giving you this wine. There's no need to trick you. You just need to put in a little effort." Hu Haonan snorted, as if he had already expected this reaction. He said he genuinely intended to give him the wine. "I'll put it in a certain place. You can just go and get it yourself when the time comes." However, he would place it somewhere for Lu Jiu to retrieve it himself. "Brother Hugh, just tell me what place. Even if it means traveling for days, I'm willing to go and find it." Lu Jiu thought to himself, "It's just a few steps. What's the big deal?" He was secretly rejoicing. "It won't take days to get to this place. It's just Savage Ridge, about 5 li from the village." But when Hu Haonan said the name of the place, he almost fell to the ground. The place Hu Haonan mentioned was called Savage Ridge. Savage Ridge was the largest burial ground for the surrounding villages. The old folks said that in the past, when the village suffered from a plague, many people died, and all the dead bodies would be dragged there for burial. Some people, for convenience, didn't even dig graves, simply discarding the bodies. As a result, Savage Ridge was always filled with the smell of decay. It is said that this place had been a burial ground since the early Qing dynasty, making it quite old. Perhaps it was the accumulation of all these years that made Savage Ridge appear extremely gloomy and terrifying. However, this place being called Savage Ridge is a recent development, only in the last few years. The reason is that strange beasts appear there every night, harming passers-by. The town formed an investigation team to conduct an on-site survey. Of the 3 people who entered the forest, 2 had their hearts ripped out and died there. The one who escaped also suffered a mental breakdown, constantly babbling incoherently about encountering ghosts. To stabilize public opinion, the authorities defined the monster as savage, and the place was named Savage Ridge. Outsiders didn't know the truth, but the surrounding villages all knew that it was no savage at all. Many villagers saw the monster crawl out of a coffin, Its clothes were long rotted away, clearly indicating it was a dead person. It was said that the dead man enjoyed eating the hearts of the living and was incredibly fast. Once attacked, escape was impossible. "In a bit, I'll have someone hide the wine. My word is my bond." That monster only moved at night, so Savage Ridge was still safe during the day. Hu Hao Nan said he would hide the wine in Savage Ridge during the day. But you can only look for this wine at night, understand? But Lu Jiu man could only search for it at night. If he dared to look during the day and was caught, his legs would surely be broken. When Lu Jiu heard Hu Hao Nan say this, his spirits immediately sank. Asking him to go to Savage Ridge at night was effectively sending him to his death. He assented with a sigh, and then glanced at the wine in Hu Hao Nan's hand, as if bidding farewell to an old friend. "Kid, I went through a lot of trouble to steal this wine from my old man. Don't let my efforts be in vain, all right?" Seeing this, Hu Hao Nan walked up to Lu Jiu, patted his shoulder, and told him that he had also stolen this wine from his father with great difficulty, hoping Lu Jiu wouldn't be ungrateful. The implication was already clear. If he didn't go get the wine, he would still inevitably get a beating. Originally, Lu Jiu lived a rather carefree life in the village, but Hu Hao Nan constantly bothered him, resorting to physical violence at the slightest provocation, casting a shadow over his easygoing days. That night, Lu Jiu tossed and turned, unable to sleep. He thought of Hu Hao Nan's arrogant and overbearing face, but even more, he thought of the fine wine in his hand. That flask of wine was in a certain spot on Savage Ridge, and no one would fight him for it. However, these pleasant thoughts were interrupted as soon as the words Savage Ridge appeared. The temptation of wine still couldn't outweigh his life. "Lu Jiu, this grandpa is in a good mood today. I'll spare you half a bowl of wine." 3 days passed like this. On the 4th day, during dinner, the blacksmith next door, Zhang, was in a good mood and shared half a bowl of wine with him. "What kind of taste is this wine?" Lu Jiu took the wine, and as soon as it touched his lips, he almost vomited. "Stinky brat, if you want good wine, go buy it yourself. You really don't appreciate kindness." It turned out that for the past few days, Lu Jiu's mind had been completely filled with the aroma of that fine wine. Other inferior wines tasted like horse urine to him. Slowly, the inequality between wine and life began to shift in his mind. That night, Lu Jiu left the village. The most painful thing in life is hesitating between two choices. But once a decision is made, the pressure vanishes. Lu Jiu's steps became much lighter. Only one thought remained in his mind. Even if he were to die, he would enjoy that fine wine to the last drop before his death. That night was the middle of the lunar month, and the entire mountain path was illuminated by moonlight. Soon he arrived at Savage Ridge. In such a large burial ground, finding a bottle of wine wouldn't be easy. However, this brought up one of Lu Jiu's peculiar abilities. His nose was exceptionally sensitive to wine. He could not only discern a wine's variety, vintage, and whether it was blended, but he could even smell the wine's aroma from a great distance. Lu Jiu walked around Savage Ridge like this, and slowly he began to smell the wine's aroma. Following the scent, he quickly found the location of the wine, right in front of an old grave. That old grave clearly had some years on it. It was overgrown with grass, and the words on the tombstone were long unreadable. Hu Hao Nan actually kept his word for once. He really put the wine here. Lu Jiu was naturally delighted when he saw the wine. He didn't care about any obstacles and didn't dare to delay for a moment, rushing to get the wine. "Young man, don't leave!" Just as he took the wine and was about to depart, a voice came from behind him. The voice sounded hollow and ethereal, or rather, it wasn't heard but seemed to be directly received in his mind. Lu Jiu wanted to run, but his legs felt as if they were filled with lead. He simply couldn't lift them. He knew something was wrong, And recalling the various tragic incidents on this ridge, cold sweat immediately poured down him. However, Lu Jiu had not been entirely unprepared for this situation. He had long been mentally ready. Should danger strike, he would surely drink that fine wine to the last drop and become a wine ghost. Wouldn't that be a wonderful way to go? Thinking this, Lu Jiu twisted open the cap, tilted his head back, and was about to drink the entire flask of fine wine in one gulp. "Please, may I have a sip?" However, the voice behind him made him stop. Hearing that request even made him feel an urge to turn around and look. When he turned around, he saw a slender man standing before the grave. He wore a queue, seemed to be dressed in Qing Dynasty attire, and was smiling at him. "This wine has been sitting before my grave for more than 3 days. Today, may I please ask this kind gentleman to quench my longing for it?" The man continued, saying that this flask of wine had been in front of his grave for 3 days, tormenting him for 3 days, and asked if he could be given a sip of it today. "You want to drink this wine too?" Although Lu Jiu loved wine more than his life, he wasn't stingy. Sharing a fine flask of wine between two people was indeed a pleasant thing. But the man before him didn't seem to be human. How exactly could he share this exquisite wine with him? "Don't worry, I just need to possess you. When you drink this wine, it will be as if I am drinking it too." The man saw through his thoughts. He said he merely needed to possess Lu Jiu's body, and as Lu Jiu drank the wine, he himself would also be able to enjoy its mellow fragrance. Lu Jiu looked at the man before him and surprisingly felt a sense of kinship, thinking that this person must have been a great drinker in life. Since he had no intention of leaving alive anyway, having a drinking buddy to share fine wine before he died wouldn't be bad at all. Possession, huh? All right then, let's do it quickly. After thinking this, Lu Jiu nodded, agreeing to the man's idea of possessing him. "Thank you for your generosity, young Master Tilde." The man was filled with gratitude upon hearing Lu Jiu's agreement and repeatedly expressed his thanks. His form began to blur until he transformed into a wisp of green smoke. It then burrowed into a spot on Lu Jiu's chest. Lu Jiu's body experienced a peculiar sensation, as if his entire being had become much stronger. "Young master, please drink. Are you successfully possessed now?" "I'm going to start drinking." He was sure that the man had successfully possessed him. Immediately, Lu Jiu raised the wine flask. The moment that jade-like liquor flowed down his throat, the rich and mellow aroma exploded in his throat, and the smooth, sweet taste flowed back to the tip of his tongue, resonating with the warmth in his stomach. Good wine! In that instant, Lu Jiu and the man inside him simultaneously exclaimed those two words, "Good wine!" At that moment, Lu Jiu closed his eyes, savoring the aftertaste of the wine, as if his entire being had become detached from this world. But this world had no intention of giving him up. A sharp pain in his chest quickly pulled him back. Lu Jiu's eyes snapped open, and he saw a heart beating right before him, a heart that was clearly his own.